All right, Confessions at 7, Confessions AT7 at wild941.com. This is a weird one today because Meredith sent me a confession. I read it just like we normally would do, and then she resends it and says, hey, never mind. I was like, did they change their mind? She's like, no, they're calling.
Yes, I got her on the phone.
Okay, because I had already thought this was a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have Christy on the line. Hey, Christy, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey.
I'm okay.
Okay. Are you nervous? Because I kind of got a vibe from the email that it was a little bit of a nervousness or more of an embarrassment, I guess. I don't know why. I don't know how I describe it.
I'm so nervous.
Don't be nervous. No, I mean we're gonna,
we're nice.
I'm aware of it already, and I'm kind of nervous for you, but I'm gonna help walk you through this. Okay, you want to share with everybody what you're confessing?
Yeah, I love you guys. I'm such a big fan of the show, so I guess that's why I'm a little embarrassed because,
if you can't tell other people, you can at least tell us. That's what you need to just think of it that way.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. No, I totally trust you guys. So that's why I wanted to confess this to you. I met up with a guy on Tinder, and I thought it was just going to be like an easy one-night stand kind of thing.
We're not going to judge. We're not going to judge, but that right there, that's going to get, that Tampa people are going to judge on that one right there. Okay, so you went for a quickie, okay, and?
Yeah, so however, he turned out to just be a really great guy. So we met up after only like 90 minutes of, after talking, like it was only like an hour or so after swiping for each other. And that's why I thought it was going to be a hookup, because it was just very quick, like, hey, want to hang out kind of thing. So I went to his house, excited to hang out. But when I walked in, I saw his mom and his sister with a child saying, like, okay, he's bathed and ready for bed. And I looked around the corner and I saw his child was sitting in a wheelchair. Most definitely special needs. And I was honestly like shocked. And even, I thought his house was so nice and he had, almost everything I'm looking for in a partner. I just can't begin to see myself handling a situation like this.
You had a guy in front of you that, for lack of a better word, needed a itch scratched, and you needed an itch scratched, and then you bumped into this rando and ended up being a lot more of what you liked. Like when you were in the email, you were talking all about his looks and this, that, and the other, and so this was a good guy for you that you probably would want in a normal situation, at a bar, at a hookup with friends. Like this would be a guy you would be interested in.
You could see yourself with him.
Yeah, like so nice, like has his life together. But I just can't see myself being the primary caregiver for someone with all these needs. And I know how horrible that sounds to say, but it's just true. And he wants to keep seeing me, but I just don't think this is the right path for me. And I know he's wondering why I've slowed down the conversation. So I'm just
you didn't tell him?
No, not yet. So I'm wondering if I should just tell him the truth on why, even though it sounds so horrible. I don't want to see him anymore. He's perfect for me, but this is just a little too much at the moment.
At least she's being honest with herself. You know what I mean?
Okay, this question, I didn't know he didn't. I didn't know he didn't know. I thought you had already ended it. Okay, so my question is, if mom and sister are the ones who are like helping him through this, why do you think that this would ultimately fall on you?
Well, I mean, they definitely help him, because it's a lot. And I could see myself getting serious with this guy, it being like a lifelong thing. And I just don't know if I can make that commitment for life. Even though it sounds so horrible, but I know this is kind of the special needs that he won't ever be able to live without his,
right.
in his father's home. So this would be a lifelong commitment. And I just don't know. It sounds so selfish and awful. And that's why I'm like embarrassed to say this, but yeah,
you're getting some evil eye on the text right now. Just to let you know, you're getting some evil eye. And I'm trying not to judge because, ultimately the people who are taking care of folks who are in need or who have developmental disabilities, those people are considered by most as the salt of the earth,
right.
Patient and kind and selfless and all of that. And
that's all the qualities that I'm looking for. So that's why he really is all of that.
It's a lot, and it's a lifelong commitment on top of everything else as well.
Now, Christy, I'm just close your ears. I'm not talking to you. People of the Bay.
Yes.
My question is, how can I get? I don't want to be mad about it because this is someone's choice. Can you be angry at somebody for making this choice, especially if they were well thought out enough to say, you know what? Don't let me start.
Yeah.
Don't let me say, even though it sounds harsh,
it
and
does.
I get it. I mean, Christy is already falling on the sword. She's like, this sounds terribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But
it sounds mature. And I know.
Is it?
Well, she's mature enough to know herself, the situation.
Christy's like, you talking about me like I'm not here. I'm
but,
right here.
But does she say anything to him? Does she tell him honestly, like, hey, this is a situation. I really enjoy you, but this is not going to work out because of this? Or do you just kind of like ghost him?
Out of the 813, someone says it best. I guarantee you this man has heard this before.
Yes. Has to.
So if that gives you any kind of solace, at least he's probably heard it before, so it's not going to be that shocking when you say it, because you're going to have to say something. At least, you know what I mean? Just at least for closure, or or to just be adult about it. Walking away with class is probably paramount in this. You know what I mean?
I know you feel guilty, but this is a decision that you're making about your life, and own up to it. If you want to tell him and be honest, I'm sure he would appreciate that.
Yeah. Christy, listen, that is probably the best advice you're going to get, but we are, and you know how the show goes, we now going to give it to the audience, and they're going to give you the business. Yes. I'm just probably maybe 60, 70% are going to give you the business, but there'll be some people who rock with you too. Yes. So I just want to say I get it, but I'm so sorry that you had to, I don't know, had to meet the one and then have to walk away from the one.
Yeah. And you never know. It could work out. You don't know.
I hope it doesn't work out though, because that would mean that the kid something happened. So this can't work out. You got to walk away. You got to walk away classy. Let him know and tell him as honestly as you can, what you feel, and then just move on. Just, you know what I mean? And I will say thank you for sharing it with us, because I swear we ain't never had this conversation.
No, not at all.
This is very different.
So thank you, Christy.
So I thank you, and turn off your radio. You don't want to listen to what's coming. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Mama.
Thanks, love.
Thanks a lot. Go out. Oh, good Jesus. Do you see the phone lines?
Yeah, I see the phone lines. I see the text. I mean, people, you know what? I will say there are some understanding texts coming in, but there's a lot of hate as well.
Okay.
It's easy to judge. Would you walk away?
Listen, I could never. I mean, if you meet somebody, just saying it out loud feels horrible.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll take some of your calls on the other side. 888-429-0941. It is the Freak Show, Wild 94.1. Oh my God! All right, so there's a lot of heat coming in. There's some understanding ones too. Yeah. Christy is a listener and called because she went for a quickie, and it ended up being a lot more than she anticipated, and she's tapping out.
Yeah,
or at least volunteering to tap out
before things progress and get too much. Out of the 813, she is so bleeping shallow. Has she even asked about the mom or anything to do with the caretaker? He doesn't need someone like her around his son anyway, so she just needs to go ahead and walk away.
Out of the 407, truth and honesty is good for the soul. It's good for the spirit, and it's good for the heart.
Yeah. Out of the 813, my brother has a severely handicapped child, and his wife, the mom, left. She said she could only do it 50% of the time.
We got a handful of calls here, so I want to grab a couple of them, but this one stood out. It says, out of the 813, I totally get it. I wanted to do special education so badly until I started working in the special education classrooms and realized how it actually was.
Yeah, it's
I
difficult.
immediately changed my degree. Those things are really for seriously God-sent special people who have a certain level of patience, and I'm just not one of them, unfortunate.
Those classrooms are a different conversation.
And so admitting it is honorable for some people.
Yes.
Christy calls us. She hooked up with somebody on Tinder. They ended up like 90 seconds later meeting up. So evidently they both were like-minded, had a good time. He then invites her back to his house, and I guess the people who were taking care of his son, who has developmental issues, confined to a wheelchair, when they were leaving and his son was ready for bed, he was going to hang out at the house with the lady.
Right.
And she saw that and then
she wants to run.
Pulled away.
Yeah.
Or wants to pull away. All right, let's see. We got Rod on the line. Rod, man, what you got for me?
Yeah, man, I think she just go ahead and tell them,
Really?
And the reason why I say that is because she went on Tinder. They both essentially was looking for one thing only.
Yep.
So, and when that occurred, she didn't expect none of that. I wouldn't expect none of that. And then when that overwhelmment came, that what triggered it. So, essentially, it wasn't like he was pursuing her. It's like they met and swiped an hour. So, there shouldn't be any issue. Oh, that's just like saying, you was on Tinder, right? And you swiped on the girl, she swiped on you. You're like, okay, cool. Let's hook up in an hour. She's like, come to my spot. Okay, that's what's up. So you go to her house, her dad there with an oxygen tank and all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, this wasn't what we was talking about doing. It's kind of overwhelming for the first time of meeting somebody.
You got to give her credit for saying something. So I do understand that, but he also didn't draft her to take care of his kid. He's like, just come over here and scratch this itch. That's all I was really looking for.
Yeah, that's at the same time. That's the reason why she should tell him, like, hey, I know we need these itch scratch and I like you and all this stuff, but I can't go forward. No point in what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I appreciate you, man. Let's see here. I got Jerry on the line in Okeechobee. Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Hey, Orlando, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm doing great.
This one is a different conversation this morning.
Oh yeah, it's not like the dating the twins thing, but no, I will say this: I have just hearing a voice from somebody on a confession made a huge difference. I don't think that she actually has an issue with the special needs kid. I actually think she has a commitment issue.
Oh.
He saw something she was scared of because she felt right when she was with him.
So you mean like the fact that he had all of the good parts?
He had all the good stuff, and she's looking for an excuse because she's got commitment issues, honestly.
But that's what you thought from hearing her voice? Because you mentioned the fact that hearing it was different.
The guilt's coming not from the one-night stand. The guilt's coming from she felt a connection that she wants to walk away from because she doesn't want to have the commitment to the child as well. But who's to say she doesn't have a child that has special needs too down the road?
Right.
You never know what God's going to put in front of you.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And someone that you can't just walk away from, in essence.
And it wouldn't be bothering her so bad, honestly, if it was just a one-night stand. One-night stand, why are you still talking? Why are you still communicating? You felt something.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great point, man. I appreciate it, Jerry. That's good. That's great insight. All right, thanks, bro.
She could have commitment issues. I mean, I don't know.
I still think if I meet somebody and they got all of these things, I don't think I couldn't walk away from somebody like that.
No, not at all. This wouldn't. Well, especially since my brother is severely autistic and he's nonverbal and all the things. He needs 24/7 care. This would not put me off, but I'm used to it. You know what I mean? Like this is just something that is just normal in my household or my family.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you just reminded me of something. So if I'm thinking about this guy who has probably heard this before, your dad has been the primary caregiver for your brother.
Yeah, since they divorced. Yeah.
Would you think your dad goes through that kind of thing too? Because you've always said my dad is single and I need my dad to get somebody. Do you think that's
One of the reasons?
Yeah, like, do you think people
Yes.
hesitate?
Yes, absolutely. Especially since he still lives in the house with my dad. And he's not my dad's not going to place him anywhere else anytime soon. So yeah, that's a huge, and also my dad stopped dating because of it. He was tired of kind of hearing that as well. So he doesn't even put himself in that position anymore. Yep.
And so, oh wait, so this it makes even more sense though. It's like, because the dude probably was like, I only need an itch scratched.
Right.
Because like you say with your dad, I'm not dating because of my situation.
Yeah. I know.
So all I really want is this hookup.
Yeah. But you never
That's
know
probably
what
why
happen.
that person did that.
You never know what's going to happen from a hookup. Relationships do start. So I can see it's going to be hard, and I might get some backlash from this, but I kind of respect her a little bit for at least owning up to it. Confessing it, standing up and actually saying it and bowing out, because it is a lifelong, it's the struggle bus. So yeah, I get it. I get where she's coming from, and I don't fault her for that, even though it sounds terrible.
Thanks for checking out our video. We really appreciate it, and I know you want some more, so make sure you hit like and hit subscribe right below.